Aloha, everyone. We are live and inspired today. Reason why? We're going to be talking about the Venom trailer, baby. You know it. Woo! Wait a second. We did it yesterday. Crap. All right. No, we are going to be talking about, my Star Wars. We are going to be talking about, yes, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be good times. We have nobody in the chat right now, but woo! We are fired up. Mm, 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 mm. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a dance or something. But yeah, I'm getting fired up. Yeah, and plus two, getting a little fired up because I will be talking a little bit later about Tom Bombadil from Lord of the Rings. Specifically Fellowship of the Rings, and I'll throw in a little bit of, he doesn't really show up in anything else except for, what is it, Return of the King, when, what's that old fucking, what the hell is that old guy's name? Oh, Gandalf the White. I was about ready to say fucking Dumbledore. No, yeah, Gandalf the White. Because Gandalf the Grey became Gandalf the White. And, well, what is it? The Two Towers. So, yeah, he goes up to actually have a chat when he tells Frodo that he's going to have a chat with Bombadil. And so, yeah. And that's, you don't really see Bombadil and or anything of that chat in the book. And I'll probably go into a little bit why, and also too, I'll probably go into a little bit why, like my brother Mark, he really hates, like, or I shouldn't say hate, but he really dislikes the movies compared to the books. So, but yeah, stay tuned. So yeah, let's get on with it. Even though we have 0 people in the chat right now, it is totally cool. All right. So, all right. Sorry. Had to get prepared for the show. I have a white stuff on my nose. I'm good. All right. So. Oh yeah. Woo! It's gonna be a good time. All right. So let us get into Blade Runner and why it is my Star Wars. Okay. So certain aspects that I love of it. I mean, I brought it up yesterday, and one of the things is that I love the aspect of consciousness, of like what makes you human, what is being human. Can you be more human than human? According to White Zombie, you know. No, I like it because even in the beginning, where you have like that little prelude in the movie, where the Annie or the replicant, and it is a thing where people who have read Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, they actually call replicants Annies in them, or Andes. I think it's Annie or Andes. I can't remember. It's one of those two. Yeah, I want to say Annies. But the thing is, and it's short for Android. And the thing is that it gives you a prelude to what that person's taking, the Voight comp test, is because it's the reason why they're doing that is because a replicant, since they haven't lived like a normal human life, certain things won't trigger them. So, like, for instance, if they feel pain by touching a stove, right? You know, they might not be like, oh, you know, because you know, a lot of kids when they're younger, they kind of do that growing up in a household, right? You know, so they already kind of know, you know, and just from taking that test, I mean, it's going to trigger. It's kind of I want to say it's kind of like a true false test. What is it? Polygraph, right? So it's kind of like that in a way, but I mean, it triggers emotions, and depending on the type of question that they answer, it shows whether or not they have more human response, borderline human. I mean, because you have to understand is that these void contents are not foolproof. So, you know, a person who basically is, let me see, a person who may have like Asperger's, right? You know, or just kind of like divorced or numb to certain things, probably won't have that. You know, won't have that whatever is considered human response, right? You know, sorry, I drank some coffee, so I'm like burning up here. And if I turn on the AC unit, it's just gonna be. I sound like a lawnmower going off. But so I'll just endure. It's totally cool. But so yeah, it's one of those things where though they take the test and they have a human response, it's just one of those things where you can either have like human response, non-human response, some human response. Even people, like I said before, like even people who have like a mental disorder, that's where that spectrum comes in, right? You know, because you have like, you know, you have a spectrum where, you know, you're less likely human, you know, more likely human, you know, and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, and that right there, just it kind of grabs me a bit. But the other thing too is that the Harrison Ford's character Rick Decker in it, like if you pay attention to the movie, humans always call people by their last name, like Decker, but like Rick Decker, no one really calls him Rick a lot. I think Rachel calls him Rick, but usually people call him Decker. On the other hand, or no, wait a second. Yeah, no, I messed that up. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. Let me revise. Okay, so people who are humans, they call by the first name, Rick, and then like well, now I'm confused. I think it's okay. So I think it's how it goes. Is that, yeah, humans are called by their first names. Replicants are called by their last names because when they say when they refer to Roy Batty, Rutger Hauer's character, they refer to him as Batty, I believe. Crap. Well, fuck. I kind of fucked that one up. Any which way, it's one of those, and it so yeah, so but yeah, man. Now that's gonna really just see. I haven't seen it in a minute, and I was gonna go watch it before I did this, but I was like, nah, I'm good. Apparently, I'm not that good. That's all right. We are live and inspired, because that's how we do it here. Woo! And the Quiver's down. All right. So, but yeah, one thing that is really awesome too is because, and why I like it so much, is because Decker, or Rick Decker, is human. Like whether or not whatever the fuck Ridley Scott says, Rick Decker is human. Okay, even Denis Villeneuve, who based the sequel off of the actual theatrical cut of the movie. He didn't base it off of the final cut. He based it off of the theatrical cut. Now, they don't. Now, I will say this is that, you know, depending on that, I mean, they don't really answer the question though: is he human or is he not human? In the sequel, you know, they just kind of leave it up to interpretation. But I will say this: I mean, I believe he's human. There's only physical evidence in one shot of the fucking movie where Rick and Rachel are together, and Yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Humans are last names and androids are first names. There we go. Okay, yeah, because Rachel is the next to 7. So yeah, there we go. Figured it out. That was killing me. I was like, damn, how can I mess that up? But yeah, so, but there's one shot where Rachel goes to Decker's apartment and she asks him, are you going to hunt me down? And he's like, no. He's like, but, people will come after you. And as like she's here, he's over here. He kind of like goes like here, and then he kind of drifts off. And as he's drifting off, because he's walking kind of backwards a little bit, you see his eyes kind of turn the reddish orangey color that replicants have. Now, people say that that's not really a significant, that's just because of lighting, though. People, Ridley Scott tries to say that, oh well, that's because he's an android. That's because he's a replicant. That's why I did that on purpose. It's like, the people are just kind of like, because the production studio is the one who wins, and they're like, no, he's a human. So is Harrison Ford believes that Rick Deckard is a human as well. So, and that's the way that Harrison Ford played him, as a human. He didn't play him as an android or a replicant. He played him as a human, and I don't think that he would have signed on for playing Rick Deckard again as a replicant if even though Denis Villeneuve wanted him to. I mean, I don't think he would have been like, no, he's fucking human. It's like, that's how I played him in the first one. That's what you're going to get. You're not going to get me playing a replicant version of this guy, because that's just totally fake. But so yeah, so that aspect of it, because since Rick Deckard is a Blade Runner, right? So he hunts, he retires, as they say, replicants. Replicants are not considered human, so basically they are just waste. The thing about it is that these replicants, specifically, one is a soldier, Roy Batty, another, well, there was, shit, man, I think there was like 6 or 7 of them. In the final cut, you actually see one of them. They actually talk about one of them, one of the two. There's different dialogue in the final cut, and that's where the theatrical and the final, and there's like 8 fucking different ones, just to let you know. I've seen 4 of them, and they all fucking, and the only one that I really enjoy and I really think is a good interpretation of Blade Runner is the final cut. And the reason why is because it flows so much better. I don't really mind the noir narration by Harrison Ford. I don't really think he did a bad job with it, honestly. It doesn't bother me. But the final cut flows so much better. But so Rick, since he's retiring these replicants, you can see him it's having little to no effect on him, right? He's so divorced from a feeling, anything. It's just a fucking job to him, right? It's like a soldier, right? Being out in a combat zone for so fucking long. I mean, you have to either numb yourself to things. You have to just not let bullshit get in front. You have to just kind of divorce everything from your mind, blank it out, and just be like, I'm focusing on the mission. Morals, values, all that shit. Sometimes, sometimes, a lot of times. But yeah, that's what you have to do, and that's where, like, I can understand where Rick Decker's coming from, because he's been doing this shit for so long. It's like, and also too, he comes out of retirement. They actually ask him to come back and go after these, and he's like, fuck that, you know, I'm done. You know, my ex-wife left me. Fucking, you know, I don't want to fucking do this. But it's kind of like he's kind of forced to, almost, in a way. It's really crazy. But so yeah, and so you see him losing his humanity, but you see the replicants trying to gain humanity because they only have like a lifespan. Roy, which is a soldier, and I believe there was one pleasure android for you know, affection and attention, and there was like two more. I can't remember the other two in the movie because there's actually 6 total. Yeah, there's 6 total, but there's 4 in the movie. I cannot remember. I don't know if the other, because there's two males and 2 females, and I cannot remember if the other male, then Rutger Hauer, was a soldier as well, and the other woman, what she was, I can't remember. But yeah, Daryl Hannon's character, I believe, is the pleasure bot or pleasure android replicant, and but yeah, so and that's one of those things, and they're trying to gain more life. But the thing is, because they're made with like a genetic code, a defect basically, and it's one of those things where it's like you learn later on in the movie, the guy who, because the Tyrell Corporation is the one who who mass produced, who mass manufactured these replicants, but it was their head engineer. Fuck, I want to say his name's Linus, but I could be fucking wrong. But he actually has a disease where he looks older than what he is. So, you know, the guy's like in his fucking 20s, but he looks like he's in his 50s. You know? And the thing is that the reason why, you know, their lifespan is only like four years. I mean, they start to deteriorate. Like if you've seen the movie like Moon, the Duncan Jones's Moon, with Sam Rockwell, yeah, it's kind of like that a bit. If I were to give like any interpretation of it, for a good reference point. So yeah, but yeah, and what's so cool is that they're trying so desperately to hold on to more life, and they become so, and the replicants become so much more human than Deckard could ever imagine. And like there's one point where towards the end of the movie, the guy with the disease, the replicants actually go to his house, and he takes them, and and Linus, or whatever his name is, the engineer, takes them to Tyrell's home or head office, and there's a point where after going in, they meet their creator, and in the movie, in his theatrical version, he's like, "I want more life, fucker," but in the final cut, he says, "I want more life, father," right? And I like that, and I like the father better than the fucker. And you know, I'm all about profanity, but the thing is that they recognize that Tyrell is their father. Like, he was the one who created them. He was the one that gave them life. You know, he is their surrogate father. So, to me, that's more poignant. It makes more sense. It's more kind of, you know, grabs on the heartstrings or the feels. You know, it gives it more weight to it, and more gravitas. That's a good word, gravitas. But yeah, so and that's one of the, and that right there just makes it all the better. And even like the I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Even the ending of the movie, or closer to the climax, where Roy Batty and Rick Decker are going against each other, right? Because Roy Batty is feeling, he knows he's dying. He can feel himself dying. He basically puts a nail in his hand, twists it because his hand's cramping up. He's basically deteriorating. And so Rick Decker tries to, because you have to understand is that the thing about, so Rick Decker is trying to chase after Roy Batty, and so he jumps, right? Rick does. So Roy jumps, makes it no problem. Rick jumps, he's hanging on for dear life. He's like, oh, and so. And the reason why is because you have to understand, like, replicants are made, yeah, they are bioorganic, engineered, right? So they have flesh, they have bone, they have muscles, they have all this jazz, right? As regular humans do. It's not like Terminator where, it's organic and inorganic materials, right? So you have the inorganic skeleton, but you have fleshy parts where they can sweat, they can blend in with normal society if they have to, right? So, but they're engineered to be better than humans, right? I mean, it's basically. And would they touch on this like more in the sequel? But the way that it's just a new form of slavery, right? But it's engineered slavery, and that's what's so. That's what's so. I don't want to use the word fascinating because slavery is not fascinating. Slavery is a bad thing. It's just it's the worst of the worst thing. It sucks. Putting a person in bondage, having control of them, on so many levels. I don't believe in it. It's really wrong. But that is like being biologically engineered to do another person's work, like fight wars or be like or work in the sex trade, or being a pleasure bot, or it's fucking degrading, man. It's like it's sad, it's sickening and saddens me, and so, but it's intriguing because of the simple fact that you have that everybody's pretty much okay with it, right? It's like they don't see it as slavery, right? And it's just how it is, and that's what's fucking crazy. And so that's like Rick Decker. Rick Decker doesn't. I mean, if you look at the character, the character is pretty fucking just. He's not. He doesn't think too much. He doesn't really go into a lot. I mean, he's just kind of like, he has a mission and this and anything. He's not a real critical thinker, other than he has to retire these replicants. Now, more and more as the story goes on, his humanity grows again. In the theatrical cut, because he goes off with Rachel in the end and stuff like that. And even in the final cut too. But I mean, in the theatrical cut, it's a happily ever after. They drive off into the fucking sunset. Up to la la la, but in the final cut, they're running for their lives. And then the screen goes blank. You don't know like if they're gonna make it or not. It leaves on more of a dour more realistic, right? And a lot of people don't like that because a lot of people view media as escapism, and they should feel good leaving the movie theater, not like, well, damn, that sucked, But getting back to Rick Deckard, hanging, lifts him up, right, like one fucking hand, and so that also ties back to it because they're engineered to. Because Roy was engineered to be a soldier, so he has super strength. He has, he's like fucking Captain America, basically. I mean, the guy can take fucking bullets. The guy probably he probably either does not feel pain or has his nerve endings. He has like a reductancy. I think that's a word. A reduction to pain to nerve endings, going all haywire and stuff. So for and it's like the ultimate like slap in the face, right? For Rick, because Roy picks him up one-handed, saves his fucking life, and then you hear this sweet fucking monologue by Rutger Hauer, who improv it. Talks about seeing, talks about being on the, what was it? Talk about seeing starships on Saturn, and all the memories will fade like tears and rain. Time to die, and or all these memories will fade like tears and rain. And that's just, to me, that's so beautiful. I mean, it's and him monologuing it, and even him coming up with that monologue, I mean, shows you the depth and the power and the weight of how capable of an actor he was in that movie, and just as an actor alone. I mean, I still want to see Hobo with a shotgun with him. I remember watching Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. That was pretty good. And but getting back onto Blade Runner, it's the ultimate slap in the face for Rick, because of some facts. Like here he is, like he's hunting what he hates, or he's hunting what he's basically become, right? Because like, and a replicate's not supposed to feel, they're not supposed to do it, they just have a fucking job to do, and they do it, and they make new ones. They're like a fucking factory, assembly line. And so Rick, and so when Roy Batty dies, you just see the look on his face of just like bewilderment, and Rick Deckard's face of bewilderment, surprise, just he has all these like conflicting emotions inside of him that just kind of jump starts his system again, right? So these things flood in. That's why he takes Rachel. That's why they leave. Excuse me. And so, and yeah, but it's one of those things where, and I love, and I know I haven't touched on it yet, but the atmosphere, the scenery, the fucking, because it's so dark and gritty and dirty, and it's so cyberpunk. Like I love a role-playing game I love is Shadowrun, and that's very cyberpunk. Like the movie Hackers is very, very cyberpunk as well. I don't really like that movie. It had Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller. I mean, it was all right. I mean, you got to see Angelina Jolie's tits, for like a quick boob shot, and that was pretty sweet. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really fucking care for it. Zero cool, acid burn, the crash and burn bullshit. Yeah, it's just so fucking stupid. Giant Mnemonic, on the other hand, that was pretty damn dope. I did like that. I thought that's cyberpunk as well. But the thing is that the atmosphere is so of Blade Runner is so much like Shadowrun. It just doesn't have elves and trolls and dwarfs and fucking dragons and great worms and shit. You know, it just does. It's minus all that, and magic, because that's the thing. That's why the dragons awake. That's why trolls and orcs and what's the elves come back. But because of magic being reborn. But if you don't know what Shadowrun is, fucking check it out. I have like novels by them, and like one of the like the character, a character by the name of Richard Armitage in the Shadowrun game is very kind of loosely based off of it's based off of William Gibson's Neuromancer, but you can see elements of Blade Runner in that as well, right? Rick Deckard, Blade Runner, that character. I'm not saying that you can see it was like that it's inspired by. So and so yeah, I mean, it just talking about the because it's so real, right? You know, you can actually see the shit happening. You know, with global warming, climate change. Whether if you don't believe in it, do believe in it, you know, it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, it's in Blade Runner 2049 they even go into deeper with it because there's an actual fucking seawall, and you see and now in the original you don't see this, but you know you only see like raining and stuff and industrial like smoke and smog and shit like that. But in the sequel, on the other hand, you see LA fucking snowing. It does not snow in fucking LA. I mean, it's sandy fucking beaches and hot and fucking humid and shit. But yeah, it's snowing in LA. And here's another like little tip for you. In the book, it's not Rick Deckard does not live in fucking LA. He lives in San Francisco. Just a little fucking trivia there. Yeah, and also too another thing, Rick Deckard is in the book is kind of like a stepping on character, you know. The actual, because he's like a dumb, because in the book he's a dumb Blade Runner. He's like the lowest of the low on the totem pole. Like the guy, like if you ever see Blade Runner, the guy in the beginning who's getting the void contest, the guy who gets clipped, he's the one who is the more of the Rick Deckard type in the movie. You know, he's the badass in the book, and not Harrison Ford. But Harrison Ford was probably like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. He was like, you know, no, in his Harrison Ford fucked up voice, and but yeah, so that's yeah, the elements, the climate change, the people, the reason why people are going off colony and living off colony, or you know, you actually have to have fucking money to go off planet and to live in colonies and stuff like that. I mean, you have to be a rich motherfucker, and then just that in general is just so fucking cool, because it's like because you have to wonder, it's like, did people volunteer to stay on Earth? You know, would they go? Wouldn't they go? You know, would they leave their family? You know, I mean, there's so many fucking possibilities and questions, and if you had the chance, would you go off world, or would you stay with your family if you could? You know, if your family couldn't go, but you had the opportunity, right? So to go to like what is it? Lost in Paradise, you know. Ruby Rod. But yeah, so fucking fit on, man. Chris Tucker, man, good dude. But yeah, it's one of those things where Yeah, I like that. I like the realness of it. It's really cool because the possibility of that happening, I could see, I actually see within maybe the next 50 years or so. Because see, like Blade Runner was actually made, like the time frame of the first Blade Runner is 2019, and then the new one being 2049. So it's like 30 years after. So, but yeah. So and that right there are the elements as to why, like the original Blade Runner, I find it so much more fascinating than Star Wars, because Star Wars, it's like you can't be a fucking Luke Skywalker with a fucking laser sword, an oversized fucking glow stick, and going out vroom 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 vroom. You can't fucking do that. Only in your fucking mind's eye can you do that shit, you know. Or if you really, or if you aren't taking your crazy pills, you know. but um, but yeah. So it's one of those things where yeah, it's just I love the realistic element of it. I love the way that it shows like the use of slavery in a new form, you know, and how wrong it is as well. I mean, I love all the elements now, and this is a good segue because I'll jump into Blade Runner 2049, because now see Blade Runner 2049, there's actually a few, like three, I believe, shorts, right? One with Neander Wallace, which is, if you don't know who Neander Wallace is, he's basically the main protagonist. I'm sorry, not protagonist, antagonist in the movie, and then he has the second in command, the second antagonist, and that is Love. And then your main protagonist is Ryan Gosling, excuse me, K, Agent K. And then your second protagonist is Rick Decker, but he doesn't show up till fucking like more than like halfway through the fucking movie. Which I'm not disappointed. I just wish that there was more interaction. I mean, where it's to me, and this is just me, it's a perfect fucking movie. I don't care. I don't care how fucking long it is. It is a great fucking movie. I mean, there is one thing that in the movie that kind of just makes it just, and I was thinking about it the other day too, or yesterday, and it's just they do a callback, and you don't really have to do the fucking callback, but but that's the only thing that I find where it's like, yeah, just it's. I mean, to me, the movie's perfect, but I can understand where people say that. Well, you know, because even I've seen people like agree with my statement on it, but it's just like one of those flash in the pan. It's like very fleeting. It's like it's there and then it goes, and but you're just like, well, did you really need to have it in the movie? But I understand why, because some people are just they I don't want to say they're idiots or they don't catch on, or you have to understand Blade Runner 2049 and Blade Runner are movies where you have to fucking think. You have to like analyze the shit. You have to pay attention. You can't just be fucking doing dishes or vacuuming and have it on and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, I didn't miss anything, you know. Yeah, you actually have to fucking sit there for like 2.5, 3 hours and pay the fuck attention, because it's just that involved. And but it's a very good payoff. So later on 2049 starts, and we start out with Agent K, Ryan Gosling's character, and he's actually he's a replicant who's a Blade Runner, because you find out in the movie that basically being a Blade Runner is like the lowest of the lowest jobs, right? And humans were like, well, I don't want to fucking do that, you know. Number one, they didn't want to do it, or number two, they were getting feelings, and they were letting their replicants go, or or people or their superiors were suspecting and starting to think that that the humans were becoming more sympathetic to the replicants. So they kind of like 86 them, basically. And they were like, okay, hey, we're going to make these replicants, this batch of replicants for the job of being a Blade Runner. So thus we start out with Agent K on a mission to hunt down a replicant. And like I said before, there's 3 shorts that one of them, the first one has Neander Wallace, and he's actually in like a business meeting. You find out that Neander Wallace is actually blind, but he also while the world was dying of starvation, he actually made synthetic food to where people could eat and no longer have to worry about starvation. I mean, the guy's a fucking genius, but he's also a narcissistic motherfucker too, right? You know, he basically thinks that he is like God, that he is a man god, and that's where his hubris lies. And honestly, I love that. I love that. I think the character is very. I love that about the character. That the character thinks that he was put on this earth to be a god, but he's fucking stupid. And where I come from, we call that being fucking retarded. You know, I mean, for all the smarts, the motherfucker is like the smartest, dumbest person, one could know, right? You know, because he has that pride, he has that hubris, he has that sin in him. I mean, we all have sin, but I mean, this motherfucker is breaking the damn commandment, basically, because he sees himself as God, amongst men, and or a Christ-like figure, right? You know, and so I like that about the character, because his downfall is such the more sweeter for it when his demise happens, and so we have Agent K hunting down older replicants, right? I don't know what type I think he's a Nexus 9. I could be wrong about that, but I think he's the Nexus 9. He's hunting Nexus 7s or 6s or 8s. I don't know. He's hunting older replicants because the newer replicants like K are more docile and they're less likely to have free will. So, and during one of these, and so you see in one of these shorts that I talked about a little bit before, you see Neander Wallace go to this meeting with these people, and he wants to mass reproduce replicants again, right? And they're like, no, replicants got out of hand. We had there was a fire that broke out. I mean, there was a big blackout that happened, and they actually don't show that until the next one, until the next short, and it's actually an animated short, and it actually shows you like what happened during the blackout and how the blackout actually happened. And he actually talked about the blackout in the movie as well. So, but he actually has like a replicant with him, and so he tells the replicant to take its own life, and it does right in front of him, and just to prove a point, right? I mean, and that replicant meant nothing to him. He calls them angels, right? That they're his angels, and he is God. And you can see like the fucking hubris in this guy. This guy has some balls, man. This guy has some fucking balls. This fucking dude. But so, and then basically, Love, his second in command, is so much vying for her father's affection, right? Like she's trying so hard to be the best, to win her father's approval. But in the end, like they don't really get into this, but Neander probably doesn't give a shit about her other than what she can do for him, right? Like he doesn't have any emotion towards her. I mean, the guy's blind, alone. He doesn't have any children. He just fucking he is who he is. And so you have thus they start mass reproducing replicants again, and I think the Nexus 9s, and so that are more docile, and that's K, and that's one of those replicants is K, Ryan Gosling's character. But then also too, like the blackout happened because a cell rogue cell of replicants caused basically all the technology, all the files, because everything's on file, everything's digital, causes like a massive blackout, and so a lot of stuff was not saved. Excuse me. And basically the thing about it, at that time, replicants were basically being rounded up and identified, and it was their left eye that you had to scan and stuff like that, and they had like a barcode underneath the eye. So, and because when Kay goes after, and actually it's Dave Bautista's character, old Drax the Destroyer, that is a replicant he's going after, and he's basically says, just look up, and so he can see so he can scan the barcode, and so or the digital barcode, and or serial number, and so and it's very fascinating, and you learn in the movie that actually Rachel, the replicant from the first one, the love interest, Sean Young's character, to love interest to Rick Decker, she actually has a child, and she actually has a child with Rick Decker, right? So you have this half human, half replicant kid. And the thing was is that before, replicants couldn't reproduce on their own, right? They could have sexual intercourse, but they couldn't create life. Somehow, since Rachel was a Nexus 7, and all the replicants that Rick Decker was after were Nexus 6s, like somehow Tyrell, from the Tyrell Corporation, found a way to put a basically, a fetus inside of, or not fetus, basically found a way to put reproductive organs, right, into Rachel that actually worked, right? Instead of just having because she probably had like reproductive organs, but the organs probably didn't work. He found a way to manipulate them to where they could work, right? So, just like with a replicant, a male replicant, having a male reproductive organ, but just shooting blanks like fucking Highlander, and that's the thing that's the whole point of Neander Wallace's, because what he did was he actually bought the Tyrell Corporation, because when the Tyrell after what happened in Blade Runner, the first one, after Tyrell dies, the corporation goes bankrupt. Neander Wallace, Wallace Industries or whatever, he actually takes over it, and that's when he gets like corrupted files and stuff, and why they were corrupted is because of the blackout and stuff like that. So he could only recover minimal amount of data from like one of them was Rachel when was Rick Decker did the void comm test on her, so and but yeah, and so but another cool thing about Blade Runner 2049, so you have Dave Bautista, right, and he dies. Kay kills him. And so, but the thing is that he was trying to cover up something. Oh, sorry. I had to close it out. He was trying to cover up something even bigger because you actually see like there's a dead tree. Now trees in wood in the Blade Runner universe is very, very rare, and you have to be very, very fucking rich to have wood, to afford wood, right? Like real wood. And so, like Neander Wallace in his fucking palace, or he has wood. He has wooden floor paneling and stuff like that, and wooden steps. And so that motherfucker is rich. And so there's a box with actual bones in them, right? So then this is how you can tell that before in the original Blade Runner, you didn't know if replicants were, if they had bones, if they were kind of, if their bones were imitation some way. It was supposed to look like bone, but it wasn't. It's, kind of flimsy, or yeah. So I mean, you actually see bone in it. So yeah, so Rachel did have. So we learned that replicants, yes, they are and even before the movie starts. I mean, you see like credits roll where they even tell you that replicants are biologically engineered beings that some have superhuman strength, or some use for war, but Ryan Gosling finds the bones in this trunk, buried like 6 feet or 30 feet deep below the surface of the tree, of the dead tree. Excuse me. And so they actually find on, I believe it's the hip bone, they actually find like a serial number. And so, and that's when he goes and he investigates at the Wallace Corporation. Wallace gets word of it. That's when he gets intrigued. And the reason why that and there's the last short with Dave Bautista in it. Like it's like a prelude to before how Kay found out about like his whereabouts and stuff like that, because he actually got into, because he was trying to I believe, I can't remember what the hell he was doing. I think he was trying to get a fake ID or something. He was trying to get money, and it went all wrong. He was trying to help a family out in like an alley or something, and he got founded out that he was a replicant, and so like a lookout 4K calls him up, and Dave Bautista actually drops his wallet, with the cash in it and stuff, and that he was gonna use, and then so he tells the informant tells Kay about Dave Bautista, and so that's how in the beginning he knows like where to find him. So, and that was actually pretty cool. I actually liked that little short. But yeah. So getting back to the bones and stuff like that. So Neander gets intrigued about why Asian K's there, and then so it's just so fucking cool, man. It's one of those things where It does. It's very long, and I'm not going to get into everything, but I will say this, that just, I mean, yeah, there's not a lot of action in it. Not by damn sight. I mean, there's like maybe 2, 3 action scenes at most, but it's just so powerful, and though there's not a lot of action, it's not SJW, it's not soy or anything like that. It's just very thinking, it's very dramatic driven, right? And one of the things is that you actually, like, so during the movie, you find out that, so we have these bones, and then you find out that Rachel actually gave birth because her pelvis was broken. And one of the doctors says that, well, that's probably due to childbirth. And they're like, what? They're like, yeah, you see like the shape of the bone and stuff. Yeah, she gave birth. And she was replicant. Replicants can't give birth. And the fucking doctor's like, well, this one did. It's a miracle baby. And so all of the movie, and so Kay is on the hunt for, and what is it? Robin Wright is his superior. And she basically says, hey, listen, look, you got to get this kid. You got to find this kid. You got to find, known associates of this woman Rachel, and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. He finds out that Rick Decker was one of the people that gave like the boy contest to Rachel. May or may not have been romantically involved with her. I mean, this is what he's going off of. So it's like he's basically having to do detective work, which is so fucking cool to see. I mean, this guy is more Batman than fucking Batman, in the Dark Knight, because he's actually doing fucking detective work. And I, wouldn't mind Ryan Gosling being fucking Batman if Ben Affleck doesn't want to fucking do it anymore. And that's just straight up. But he's actually doing his fucking job. And that's just, and even like Rick Deckard in the first one, I mean, it was just, you didn't see a lot of it. I mean, yeah, he did detective work, but it was really shoddy and kind of like, okay. But Ryan Gosling's Kay, it's like, they actually go in more in depth and detail and stuff like that. And it's just really, that's what I'm saying. Like, you really have to be invested in the movie. You have to pay attention to it. You just can't like fuck off, right? So he goes to Tyrell Corporation, finds out this stuff, and then he actually, since there's like old, since the records were made previous to a date where they could be digital, he has to go into like one of those, I can't remember what they call them, but like the old, like what you would see at a library, and like you have to like look and you have to like flip it and stuff like that, and it's like moving. It's like damn it, like an overhead screen. It's like one of those overhead screens, but you look down and you got to flip through the articles and stuff like that. And so what he finds is that there's records of 2 children, one male, one female, identical, right? Just they have identical coding, identical everything, right? Except one's male and one's female. And so and what they have done now, okay, so to make replicants more human, like they've given them memories, like manufactured memories, to make them seem more human like. And that's what the Wallace Corporation has done. And so they give them artificial they just put in artificial memories so they can seem more human, more human like. So he goes to one of the best people, I guess, on the planet, or at least in Los Angeles, who actually makes memories, right? For and is a freelancer. And this lady, she's actually locked in a kind of like I don't want to say a bubble, but she's locked in a place with low to no oxygen because of she has like she's very her immune system is very prone to diseases and stuff. So she has a very low immune system, and she could probably die from elements outside. And that plays into a thing later that we'll get into, which I think is fucking cool. And then so Kay actually, so Kay goes back. He goes back to the tree, and there's actually a date on the fucking tree. And so he has this memory of this like wooden horse with on one of the hooks, like upside down. It has that date. So he's starting to put two and two together, and like basically, and he sees that, okay, so he's going through, I think the filmograph or whatever the fuck that machine is. So he sees one male, one female, identical genetic code, other than one's male, one's female. You know, one's a fake, basically. He doesn't know if it's the male or female, but he's starting to put two and two together here, right? And basically, he asked this lady, because okay, so the thing is that it's illegal to take real memories and put it into a replicant. You can be inspired and take memories that are similar, right? But you cannot take a real memory and put it into a replicant. That's illegal. So he goes to this woman who's in the big fucking bubble, and who makes memories and does freelance work. And she actually says that yes, this is not manufactured. This was actually taken and put into this person. And that's when you see Ryan Gosling's character go fucking apeshit. Because this is the point of the fucking movie where this guy really believes wholeheartedly that he is the son of Rick Deckard and Rachel. Because you see this motherfucker just like scream out, kick a fucking chair. This guy is off his fucking gourd. He is out to lunch. He's off to fucking beyond Pluto. This guy is just gone. And I love it. Because you just see a replicant going fucking berserk, becoming human. This is what I've fucking been wanting since the first. And more human than human, you know? I mean, this guy, and the thing that makes it even more powerful is that the woman who's watching this memory, you see a fucking tear come down her eye, and she wipes it away, and she's like, yes, this is a real memory. And it's like, holy fucking shit. You know? And you just see him going nuts. You know, he fails his, what the fuck test? He has like a baseline test. He has a baseline test. He fucking fails because every time when you go through, and he had to do a baseline test when he retired Dave Bautista's character to make sure that you're fit for work because of you going through such a traumatic event by retiring or killing another being. So yeah. So he fucking screws his baseline. All the shit. He actually is put on fucking suspension. And because basically the thing is his superior gives him 48 hours. He's like, hey, listen, look, I'm supposed to have your ass fucking, basically retired here, but I'm giving you 48 hours to get the fuck out, because you've been a good soldier, you've done great for us, so I'm giving you 48 hours. And And so what he does with that time, he actually, well, one of the things is that he actually has, and this is like a B plot, and it's actually really cool, is that the B plot is that he has this device named Joy, Joy, and it's a Cuban actress. Man, she's fucking smoking hot, and I've had a couple of Cuban friends, and man, let me tell you, man, ain't nothing like a Cuban woman. They're great. They will treat you right. I advise you never to treat them wrong, because they will fuck you up, and in more ways than one. And but yeah, man, Cuban women are fucking hot, man. They're great. Whew, man, they're smoking. Okay, all right. But yeah, so he has this device, and like the person of Joy, like Joy is supposed to be like this device that basically you're supposed to fall in love with it, because it's supposed to be like a device that kind of, because you have to understand, Kay lives in an apartment by himself. He, the only thing he does is wake up, does his fucking job, goes back home, takes a shower, fucking has a cigarette, eats his fucking dingy ass fucking meal, this like synthetic fucking meal, and then he just wakes up and does the same shit over again. He reads the fucking book that's basically based off of his baseline, what the things he's supposed to remember, and so this is his only relief is this device. And what he does, he saves up money. He actually gets Joy. He has like a portable adapter to where she can actually walk around with it and stuff. And and it's so cool because like she can actually she actually feels the rain on her body and stuff, or on the image of her, and then it becomes okay. So since there's this adapter, and it's made by the Wallace Corporation or Wallace Industries, which is so fucking weird, and but it ties in, right? Because Love actually, Wallace II actually asked Agent K, is he finding joyfulness or pleasure in his device? Because I think it goes off at one point, and he's like, "Oh, you got the adapter." Oh, it's like are you, how are you liking it? Stuff like that. So he actually falls in love with, and I know it's kind of fucking weird, but it's like the movie Her, right, with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. But there's a love scene in it that has Mackenzie Davis from *Halt and Catch Fire*, which she is a phenomenal actress, and she's going to be in a new Terminator movie with Linda Hamilton. But she plays kind of like a prostitute, pleasure replicant, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But the Joy actually syncs her image with Mackenzie's body, and it's just so fucking cool how they did it. And it's just like you don't actually see them making love, but you do see them kind of kissing each other and stuff like that, and it's beautiful. Yeah, that's just to say it's beautiful. I'm not really into love scenes and all that stuff in movies and all that jazz. I don't really give a fuck about that shit. You can basically you can basically do the thing, have them kiss and stuff, and the next thing cut to them basically spooning in bed, and it's like, okay, you get the mental imagery. Yeah, they were a fucking but you don't have to see them with, you know, the bump and grind and shit. You know, it just alludes to, yeah, they were a fucking, you know, and yeah, so, but I mean, but afterwards you see, I mean, but it's beautiful. I mean, it's really, yeah, it's like the best, I would say, the best use of like of a love scene esque that has ever been done before, and that's credited to not just Denis Villeneuve, but Roger Deakins as well. Like Roger Deakins is a phenomenal cinematographer, and that's just, you know, that's that's his magic all over that. And he won an Academy Award for cinematography for Blade Runner 2049, and that's why. I mean, that's one of the best scenes, and it's beautiful. It's just it's very beautiful. So, and I don't use I don't say beautiful a lot and mean it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're beautiful, baby, you're beautiful. You know, whatever. You know, but I mean, that's really, it's a beautiful scene. It's like I can't say it enough. But he actually takes, and so he goes off and in search of Rick Decker, you know, and a child, right? Because he has to go. He's like, okay, well, you know, this kid was like, probably his kid was in, or he's like he thinks that it's him. So there has to be records. There has to be, like, you know, he remembers this. There had to be like an orphanage or something like that. So he goes outside of LA and hunts down the orphanage, finds the orphanage, but he sees that all the records were taken out, right? And so, but he finds the wooden horse, right? Because of his images, because of the memory, his memory, he places the wooden horse, and he actually gets beaten up by other kids because they wanted the horse. So he finds the horse where the mental imagery, the memory told him where it was. Finds it, takes it to a dealer back in LA. The dealer says that basically, listen, look, this is real wood. I will give you fucking synthetic pig. I'll give you fucking whatever you want, you know. And he's like, no, I just want to know where the fuck it came from. And he's like, well, and the guy's like, well, there's only one place where it came. There's only one place where it could have came from, because it has such a high radiation content. And you come to find out that it's basically fucking Las Vegas, where it is the origin of that tree. And this is where so this is where we meet Rick Decker. He's actually held up in one of the Las Vegas hotels, and just kind of like living out his days, waiting to fucking die, with a replicant dog or real dog. I think it's a replicant, because the motherfucker just kind of doesn't do anything, you know, except be obedient. I mean, he doesn't get mad when people come after Rick. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't start barking or yelling or, you know, doing any of that shit when Ryan Gosling goes after Rick. None of that. The dog is just fucking calm. And so, but the best thing about it is that you learn that their interaction, that basically the reason why Rick left Rachel and the child is that because they were being hunted, because he thought it would be better for them if he wasn't there, because he could view, because he taught them how to forge records and stuff, and from his time being a Blade Runner, and so, and also too, it's like he could go back and destroy records as well. You know, basically them splitting up, he thought it was better to save his child. And the whole time that he's talking to Kay, this motherfucker thinks that Kay is his son. right? Because he's like, holy shit, my son grew up to be a fucking Blade Runner like me. He's a fucking chip off the block, right? You know, he said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So, and it's really touching because I mean they're at the bar, they're at this like bar, and there's a bunch of fucking whiskey bottles and shit, and basically Harrison Ford says, yeah, this is the only thing we're not running low on is fucking whiskey, so you know, let's have a drink, let's talk. And it's really fucking it's just two men talking, right? Father and son talking. It's just, you know, estranged of one another until now. So that's when Neander Wallace Love shows up with the goons. After that, after they have their little drink, speechy poo, they take Rick Decker hostage. They actually during the fight, because there's a fight that ensues. Whatchamacallit, Kay's portable love adapter, or Joy, I'm sorry, Joy adapter falls out of his pocket, and Joy comes on screen, and she's like pleading to Love to not kill him and stuff like that, and then so, and then Joy basically tells Kay that, hey, I hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed our product, you know, and then basically right before she destroys the device, because basically because the thing is that before they went off from LA, Kay basically tells Joy, listen, look, if I take you with me, this is the only thing right here keeping you alive. I had to erase, I have to erase anything within the deck, you know, in the house and in the apartment, because they could trace it back to where we were. She's like, no, I understand. You know, I don't care. Even if I die, I want to be with you. You know, I want to be by your side. And that's just very, very, very loving and just very endearing. And you know, that hits the heartstrings too. So right before Love destroys the device, she says, I love, or she's like, I love you. And then, you know, she was going to say, I love you. But right when the you is about to happen, Love destroys it. Love destroys Joy, so to speak. And it's just so moving. That was so moving. Because that, once again, wraps into questioning whether or not a device could become sentient, right? Was she programmed to love him? Or did she actually love him? I am more of the optimistic mind that she actually loved him. That over time, she grew to love him, right? Because he was willing to take her places, that he was willing to do all these things for her, even though he couldn't have sexual intercourse with her or anything like that. He couldn't even have a child with her, right? You know, but he was, you know, sexually attracted to her. He was physically attracted to her, because he wasn't. Well, he was attracted to sexually. He was physically attracted to Mackenzie Davis's character, because they actually have an interaction beforehand, and Joy is the device is with him, and Joy's like, hey, you know, I could tell just by your vitals, you know, that you found her attractive, and that's why, you know, she came to the apartment, and that's why you know, they had the beautiful scene, making love scene, and But the cool thing about that, just to go back to that real quick, the beautiful thing about that is that you see uh, Ryan Gosling, either he's in the shower or he's in the kitchen hallway, and he's just waiting for this fucking chick to leave, right? He's just waiting for Mackenzie Davis's character just to fucking leave, get the hell out. And whatchamacallit, Mackenzie Davis sees the wooden horse, and like Joy says, "You can go now. Your services are done," you know. And you know, basically saying that you're just a fucking tool. Get the fuck out of our place, bitch. You know. And you know, get your shit and go. You know, that's like, and I love that. I just love that she was like that. Joy was like that. You know, and so yeah. But yeah, it's and that's the thing though, right? You know. And yeah, and that's why I look on the more optimistic point of view. But yeah, you know, I do think that Joy actually, after a while, seeing that Ryan Gosling, you know, his character, number one, being handsome, number two, being very affectionate, and number three, willing to sacrifice his own money and paycheck so she can have his upgrade so he can take her places and stuff, right? You know, I think that, yeah, I mean, she, you know, her programming to learn and probably to adapt would, you know, would allow her reasoning and critical thinking and some type of free space to make logical decisions that, yeah, this he's not such a bad guy. He's actually a really good man. So yeah, I'm more of the optimistic point of view. And so yeah, so that's why it was like, that's why when she dies, it kind of hit me, because it's like, well, damn, you know, I mean, it's one of those things like with replicants, right? Do they have a right to live? Do they have rights of their own? Or are they just made to do man's bidding, made to be in bondage, right? Circles back to the first one, right? And you know, and so they take Rick. Love actually takes the bones of Rachel, and basically Neander tries to get Rick to tell him to basically come to his side, Neander's side, and basically say like, okay, hey, where's your daughter at? You know, it's like, or help me find your daughter. You know, and blah blah blah, yada yada yada, or not daughter, but I'm sorry, help me find your child, son or daughter, right? Help me find Kay, basically. And Rick's like, no, you know, I will not help you. And he's like, well, you know that Tyrell created Rachel so you would be attracted to her, right? You know, you are a replicant yourself. You know that, right? It's like, why do you think you were so attracted to Rachel? And he's like, you are created to be that way. And basically, Neander does not know. Okay, Neander's a businessman. He's a snark, right? No, he's a shark. This motherfucker is a sharky motherfucker. So he's playing Rick, right? You know, he's a shrewd businessman. You know, this motherfucker thinks he's God. Remember, this guy has so much fucking hubris. He thinks that he can play Rick. And he always like, oh yeah. Doesn't matter whether or not it's real or true. If I can make this motherfucker believe that it's true, who gives a fuck, right? Because here's the thing, folks, between truth and belief. Truth is a very powerful thing, but it will never be belief, because motherfuckers see truth staring them in the face all the fucking time. But it's what you believe that you're going to go by. There's a little fun fact. So he so he so yeah, he says that he's like, listen, look, Rick tells Neander Wallace, it's like, hey, listen, I know what I felt, and I know what I had between Rachel was real, and not you nor Tyrell or anyone else can say differently how I felt and how she felt for each other. And that's just so cool. And so what he does is that he actually brings a copy of Rachel out, right? Says that basically he can, it's like he can bring the dead back to life. And with that, Rick goes up to the copy, sees it for his own eyes, astonished by, is that his Rachel that he's looking at, right? And then he's like, no, I'm still not going to help you. And then Neander's taken aback, and he's like, her eyes were green, not brown. And so, what happens? Love kills her. Just drops a code, just fucking ices her ass. Fucking, oof, cold ass bitch. She clips her, man. Clips a cold dead. Fucking ice queen. Woo! Cold hot bitch. But yeah. So and then Neander tells Love to take Rick Deckard off world and to see if he will be more complacent there. And this is where one of the final climax happens, where it is a chase scene between Love and Kay, with Rick Deckard as a hostage. And so Kay shoots down the shuttle that they're in. So they're getting ready to embark on takeoff, and they're going over the seawall. So you have like this wall, for instance, like right here in the sea, just crashing up against it. And on the other side of the wall is actually LA and stuff like that. So, and basically it's because of and the sea has risen so high because of global warming, because of climate change, that Neander Wallace had to build the seawall. Basically, I think that I don't know if he actually did, but I would not put it past me if the motherfucker built it, right? So, but yeah. So they're kind of like, and so he shoots her down, and he shoots the plane down. He goes down, and there's like a portion of seawall that's kind of flat, kind of like on an edge, and so. And there's like two guards with her because there's always like henchmen. And so, he clips them, not a problem. But then the final bout between Agent K and, or K, or Officer K. Sorry, I keep on saying Agent. It's Officer K. Agent K. That's fucking, what is it? Men in Black. Agent K. Officer K. Officer K and her and Sue, but here's the thing though, is that the shuttle that Love was going to take Rick Deckard off world it's starting to flood, right? And so Rick Deckard he's actually chained to the bottom of the of the floor, and he's sitting. So the water's rising, and basically he's about ready to fucking drown. And Kay and her are going back and forth, back and forth. And then Kay finally just kind of, she has him pinned up in the shuttle, like so, like, you know, grabbing him by the throat, pinned up. And she's on the bottom, and he's just straining the fuck out of her, you know. And then so finally, like, I think he breaks her neck. I think that's what happens. I think he breaks her neck. He kills her, but I think he breaks her neck, and then she lets go. He frees Rick Deckard, and this is the most beautiful part of the whole fucking movie here, right here. This is just fucking pure excellence. It's even better than the making love part. Spoiler warning. Coming at you. So here we go. The most beautiful part of the movie, right? So Kay is like fucking choking. He's fucking trying to get breath inside back of him. Fucking Rick is like, you know, Rick Deckard swimming and stuff. And, you know, and Kay's trying to breathe and stuff. And he's swimming too. But, you know, he's still pretty fucking woozy from being choked out by, you know, fucking love. And fucking Rick Deckard gets to where to the edge of the seawall, and the guy yells out for Kay. He's like, Kay, Kay, you know, like a father yelling out to his child lost at sea, right? You know, making sure that his son is fucking okay, right? Because he doesn't see him. He can't see shit. Number one is fucking black at night. Number two, it's the sea is dark. It looks like a fucking moving abyss. And number three, it's just all fucking flooded and shit. And then finally he sees Kay, and, you know, he helps him. You know, like a fucking son, like a father fucking helping his son. You know, from the clutches of death. You know, grasping from the bowels of Hades itself. You know, reaching into the nine levels of hell and fucking getting his son out. That's beautiful. That's fucking great. And all that is washed away. All right? All of it's washed away by this one fucking line. When Kay says, now let's go see your daughter. Mic drop. Because what I didn't tell you is that there's actually a scene that Kay gets rescued by an underground group, kind of like an underground railroad group of replicants that are going to start a revolution, right? Since they found out that a replicant could give birth, Rachel, it gave them hope, right? That evolution could happen for them. And then basically, Kay was implanted with the false memories. Or Kay was implanted with the real memories. That is actually that Rachel and Deckard had a daughter. And that daughter is the woman who fucking is in the bubble who makes the fucking memories. The freelancer. Now, I must say, when I first watched it, I was fucking impressed. I was like, holy shit. And here's the thing that's the kick in the balls. Alright? Because once Kay finds all this shit out, they go back to the fucking they do this like montage shit of going back to where Kay asked her if the memory was real, and her crying and her saying yes, it's real. And the reason why it's real because it was her fucking memory. She was the one with the wooden horse. She was the one in the fucking orphanage. But she had a shaved head, so you think it's a boy, right? The child's a boy because she has basically she has like a buzz cut. So, and she's like fucking 6 or 7 or some shit, you know. So she looks like a boy. But yeah, that's the swift kick in the balls, folks. And then you see, Kay got shot. Kay, he's pretty banged up, pretty wounded from his encounter with Joy, or Love. And you see him lying on the ground outside the building, just lying in snow, because it's snowing in fucking LA, because of climate change, because of global warming, which is pretty fucking cool. I like it. It's pretty fucking dope. And so he's just looking up at the sky. And I don't think he's dead. I think he actually survived because since there's actually snow on the ground, since it's cooler there. He got shot in the side. I don't know if it went through or not, but the coldness slows down the heart rate, slows down the bleeding. So if he's given medical attention, he has I would say probably 60%, 65% chance of him living. And then you see Harrison Ford put his hand up on the glass of the fucking bubble, and then the lady puts her hand up on the glass, and she knows that that's her father. And the movie ends. And it's a beautiful movie. It's fucking beautiful movie. And that right there is just, yeah, it is fucking, it's powerful. But I just loved my favorite scene, once again, is just that powerfulness. Because this whole fucking time, right, Harrison Ford, Rick Deckard thinks that Kay is his son. That's why it's so powerful, right? We know at this point that Kay is not his son, that it's actually the girl. I skipped over that part for a good fucking reason, right? But Rick doesn't know that Kay is not his son. He thinks psychologically, his psyche, when he's yelling out to Kay, making sure that he's all right, he's yelling out for his son. He's yelling out for the man who he believes hasn't fall far. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. He became a Blade Runner. And what better job to be, right? Because humans don't want to fucking do it. I mean, humans are like that's like the shittiest fucking job. No one's gonna suspect you being a fucking replicant, even though they're saying that, yeah, you're a fucking replicant, right? But who's gonna thunk it? Who'd have thunk it that a half replicant dude would be a Blade Runner, would basically go after his own kind? I mean, that's fucking, yeah. I mean, that's awesome. This is what's going through Rick Deckard's mind. And then we get the revelation that no, Rick has a daughter who is like fucking allergic to all the fucking elements, and she has to live in a containment unit for the rest of her days until they can give her like oxygen or fucking breathing apparatus or some shit, magic pill to where she can fucking, or or she, or maybe, you know, goes through some type of evolution, like some type of puberty, a second puberty, because she's actually a young woman. Like, I mean, if I were to say she's like 18, she's between the age of 18 and 22. You know, like maybe when she gets to be like 30 or something, or on the verge of her late 20s, maybe, you know, a second stage will kick in, right? And kind of like with Superman Returns, where Superman's son is very sickly and stuff. He had like asthma, but that's just because, you know, puberty hasn't kicked in, and then you see him like Superman's son in Superman Returns, like push the piano and kill that guy, or you know, the guy on the yacht of Lex Luthor's fucking boat, you know, holding him and his mother hostage. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, even with that, it was still a good movie. I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it. I am gonna have to save Lord of the Rings for another day. It is an hour and 42 minutes that I've been talking. And I do want to get into some Lord of the Rings. I will, I may make another live stream or video tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe a couple days. But yeah, I mean, that is the reason why Blade Runner is my Star Wars. Just because it grabs you. And I don't give it justice. I don't do it fucking justice one damn bit. That's why you gotta see it on Blu-ray. You gotta experience that shit, both of them. The theatrical cut of Blade Runner, the final cut of Blade Runner, and then Blade Runner 2049. Get those motherfuckers on Blu-ray. I mean, fuck, you can find the Blade Runner, the final cut on Blu-ray for like $7.50, right? Not even fucking $10. You could probably get it for $5 at like a, you know, at a fucking used place, or even fucking at a flea market or something, right? You know, go to Best Buy. Best Buy has deals all the time, and they probably sell that shit for like $7.50. You know, and fuck, I think you can pick up Blade Runner 2049 on Blu-ray for $15 now. So it's like $22.50 you'd be paying for. I mean, usually new Blu-rays when they come out, they're like $25, $24. So between the two of them, you're getting two for the price of one, for the price of a new Blu-ray. Two Blu-rays for the price of one Blu-ray, one new Blu-ray. So yeah, highly, highly recommend picking them up, watching. And the Blu-ray of the final cut of Blade Runner, you actually get the theatrical cut and the final cut. So it's a 2-for-1. You know, twofer, as some people say. But yeah, but I am gonna start closing it down. If you see this video, please give it a like and please subscribe to my channel. Handsome Cobra, baby. You know, this is the Quiver's Den. And if you don't know what a quiver is, it's a group of cobras. It's also a group of arrows as well. You know, a quiver is like, I believe, 12 arrows. But when it comes to cobras, a quiver is a group of cobras. So that's why it's called the Quiver's Den. And I'm your host, Handsome Cobra. But once again, thank you, mahalo. And that is Hawaiian for thank you, if you are not familiar with the Hawaiian language. But yeah, mahalo for being here, mahalo for watching the video later, and mahalo for giving the video a like and for subscribing. Once again, this is Handsome Cobra. Love to all. Come escape for life. Aloha.